It caught my brain up. Didn't expect to be so late today. I have so much going on early. Let's get into the topic of today. Very clickbaitish. Very clickbaitish. It was intentional. Trying out a bunch of different things. So the topic, BTC charts you've never seen. Well, of course, most of you, or some of you, have seen these. But there's a lot of new people joining us every day. And they might not be so aware of these charts. So when we chart Bitcoin, generally we look at BTC USD, or BTC USDT, or BTC Euro. You know, those are kind of the only charts, right? Actually, that's not true. There are, I want to say four charts that we're going to look at here. Real quick, we're not going to do super in depth. But I'm going to guess that a lot of new people have never heard of, never seen, never even thought about these existing. So the basis of this idea is pretty much the entire world is chartable. Sounds weird. All data can be charted. And what's really interesting to me is that even though that data might not be quite as interesting as Bitcoin's price action or stock price action, charts seem to follow technical analysis no matter what. TA is not always correct, but they still hold some of those elements, and to me that's really crazy. Guess we'll take a look here so you have a better idea. But really the whole world is chartable. Anything that can be put into data can be put on a chart, and in weird ways it will act like expected. And what's cool about these ones we're about to look at is these ones I think are actually easier to chart. Bitcoin is like the dollar. It's like the Dixie man. Charting Bitcoin, charting the Dixie, those are probably the hardest things, probably the hardest markets in the world, to chart. They're very tricky. They like to create patterns and then break them, and show divergences and then break them. So these other things we can look at, I think, are actually easier to chart than Bitcoin, but they are very important to Bitcoin. Let's get into them. Here we go. Number one. So this ticker is Crypto Cap Total. And we've talked about this here before, but I figured it'd be a little better to do, go into these, just touch on each of these, kind of explain maybe their importance and how you can find them on TradingView, and then let you guys mess with them, see what you find. So, Crypto Total Market Cap, ticker right here, all caps, Crypto Cap, colon, there's a semicolon, total. Pretty easy to find. And what you'll find here on TradingView is a little over 5 years of chart history. And I know you're thinking, because this is pretty much what everyone thinks when they see this, it looks a lot like Bitcoin. That is true. But it's not actually Bitcoin. It's a little different. There's a little caveat. And so what this is actually a calculated chart. So this isn't a traded chart directly. You know, I don't think there's an exchange where you directly can trade this pair or this ticker. But what this is instead of just being Bitcoin, Crypto Total Market Cap is an aggregate. It adds together, and the exact details on this, I actually don't even know. My assumption is that what this is, and it is my assumption, but if it's not 100% accurate, it's like 99.9% accurate. So what this is it's taking the market caps of every cryptocurrency listed or tracked on TradingView. and then added together. So that means right now this is at 335 billion total market cap. Okay, that's not just Bitcoin. That's Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Tether, Ripple, any coin you can name. Any coin, really, any coin with a significant market cap is very likely included in this. And maybe someone in the chat knows. If maybe they pull data from elsewhere, but that is my speculation, is that it's just all the cryptocurrencies included in TradingView, which if you take a look and you go to TradingView, you click on your ticker symbol, go to cryptocurrency. If you look, man, there's quite a few on here. There's quite a few. I don't even think this is all of them. Kind of weird, actually, that it's only showing this many. So this is all of them added together. And so the reason, I know you're thinking, is that looks like Bitcoin. Well, the reason it looks like Bitcoin is because Bitcoin compromises a large percent of this crypto cap. You know, Bitcoin is the #1 largest market cap in crypto. Currently, didn't do my homework. Currently 200 billion market cap, so 2/3 roughly of this chart is just Bitcoin. That's why it looks so similar. But what's really cool, and why I think this chart's important, is if you look at it in the detail. I recommend everyone who's new to charting, go do this. Do this on your free time. There's subtle differences, and you might not have noticed them yet, but I can show you them, just really simple ones right here. So October high in 2019 to the February high 2020. This is different. We see this high, it's in October was 268 billion, and in February of 2020 was 303 billion. So that is a higher high. On Bitcoin, that didn't happen. On Bitcoin, we had a double top. So this area right here in February was all actually down here. So it looked more like this. And what's interesting about that is, in technical analysis, these are very different setups. Bitcoin saw a double top. That was a reversal signal. Total market cap saw a higher high. That might not seem significant, but it actually is really important. We can actually see here that February, and now I'm just free-winging it. I didn't plan this. I had thought about a lot of other stuff I was going to say. And just notice this. We actually see that it kind of double topped here from the August 2019 high versus the October. Maybe I just pull up Bitcoin next. So here we go. So on the right here we have Bitcoin. On the left we have total market cap. This is what I was talking about here. I guess we're on Bitstamp, and it looks like Bitstamp actually did have a slightly higher high, but you can still see this is a large discrepancy here. These are still, this is very much still close to a double top there, but in total market cap, that double top's up here. See this? So there are differences. It's not exactly the same. It does follow it closely, and that's because Bitcoin makes up most of it. But this can be useful in charting, because this isn't just looking at Bitcoin, though I love to just look at Bitcoin. This is giving you a broader view. It's giving you a broader view of how much value crypto actually has, in the sense of investment, in the sense of buying. This is showing you more than just Bitcoin, but it's also showing you Bitcoin at the same time, because it is a large part of it. This is a chart that not everybody knows about. A lot of you are just going to be rolling your eyes thinking, come on, Tom. kind of stuff is this? But there can be information gathered from this. Let's say right now, and unfortunately I don't have a perfectly fitting example for this. Let's say like right now Bitcoin is undecided. You know, it's really not showing us a definite direction. It's undecided. We really don't have an edge on Bitcoin. It could be, you know, we've been bullish. We don't know if we're still bullish. But in cases like that, this is maybe where this comes in play. So Bitcoin may not be showing us what it wants to do next, but total market cap is a little harder to manipulate. It's a little harder to hide. If we look at total here, we can see that this essentially double top from August till February. We draw a trend line there. Look at where total bounced. Total bounced right off that trend line. Perfectly. Perfect off that trend. If we go and look at Bitcoin, we're not going to have that. We're definitely not going to have that. Let's connect those highs just as an example here. Yeah, maybe we do have that. Maybe I'm full of it. This is Bitstamp. I'm going to move to Coinbase because that's what I'm used to, and man, kind of my example's looking bad. The hell is all that? Where did that come from? So August 5th. Man, I would be happy if this worked out. Nope. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, am I going crazy, guys? What's happening? So, yep, here we go. So we can see this difference here. We connect those highs on Bitcoin, and man, we're nowhere near this trend line. Now we're nowhere near it. This isn't helping us make a decision. You know, it's like we're up, but we pulled back. This is looking bearish. What's underneath us? I mean, we have some support. We have some support build up from, you know, earlier trading 2019, 2020, but we're nowhere near a trend line. There's no reason to really expect a bounce. But we look over here on total, and look at what total's telling us. Total's telling us that we hit that freaking trend line perfectly. Total broke out of what, you know, whatever pattern this is, man, gibberish. Broke out of that. Broke out of the high from February. Rejected. Look, double top. This is a double top. This is a double top from the high in 2019 on total. We definitely don't have that over here. Not even close. I wish. That means price would have gone to 14K. That'd have been great. Now, Coinbase, we don't have that. That's a big difference. That's $2,000. Big difference. Total, double top. Not exactly a bullish signal. That's a huge difference in a chart. It's telling a total different story. Total is also telling us something else here, which is also really cool. Check out this trend. We're kind of plotting that price action from April until June. This trend line meets right on top of this back test. Like, that is way more clear. That's way more definite, way more readable, I guess, than this. Let's do the same thing on the Coinbase chart. Not going to be pretty. Like that, you know, we don't have the same certainty. This is very clear. Coinbase not really telling us the same story. It's like we broke it, closed under it. This is unsure, which is funny because that's kind of where we are with Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't really seem to know where it's going yet. But total seems to kind of know where it's going. And here's the cool thing that I was talking about earlier is, just because this isn't traded directly, doesn't mean we can't chart it. This is still data. Data can be charted regardless. So that means we can throw on our indicators here. We can actually use indicators on this thing that isn't actually traded directly. We can go and we can say, well, Bitcoin's maybe not showing me anything. I don't see an edge. But maybe I can look at some of these other charts. We're going to look at like 2 more that are important. Maybe we can find an edge there. Unfortunately, I don't have anything great here on the daily or anything to show you about total. Pretty similar to Bitcoin at this point. But the point is that you can see differences. There are times, right now isn't the best example, but there are times where this total is going to give us some kind of edge, some kind of indicator that we have evidence that price wants to move in whatever direction. And that can be information that Bitcoin or Coinbase isn't telling us. That's the first Bitcoin chart you've never seen, but I'm sure a lot of you have, but even if only a few of you haven't, I think this is really, really important information. So take a look at that. That is crypto cap semicolon total. That's the first one. Second one is called market cap BTC Dominance percent. This is another chart of data that isn't traded. This is not directly traded. For whatever freaking reason, my computer is doing that thing again where it won't load the chart data. I don't know what's wrong with that. I don't know why it does that. That's okay, we don't really need it. So what is this? If it's not traded, what is it? So this is related to what we just talked about, total market cap. So what this is, and the ticker for this is crypto cap semicolon BTC.D. Another one you should pull up when you have a minute. Wait till this episode's over, because I'm going to go through probably not as much detail as total, because total is like super important. And these ones are a little more tertiary, but still really good tools. So what this is actually related to what we just looked at. Dominance, people call this dominance or Bitcoin dominance, and what it is, and you'll see on the right side here on the scale that the numbers are a little different. They absolutely should not. I've never seen that. Actually, I didn't know about this. Something unique about this chart versus total or Bitcoin or any other almost any other chart you've ever seen before is there's no possible way for this chart to exceed the number 100. It cannot be 101, cannot be 121. Also, in an interesting sense, it cannot go below 0. So this is range bound no matter what. There's no possible way to go above 100, and there's no possible way to go below 0. And the reason is because this is a percent. And this percent reflects how much of total market cap Bitcoin by itself represents. So right now, it's at 60.9. Total market cap, yeah, let me pull up a calculator here. No, I don't even need to do that. So total market cap was 330 billion, let's estimate. And Bitcoin dominance is 60.9%. So that means it's 60.9% of that 330 billion. And you can see that this number has ranged. There is a lot more chart data. I can probably doodle this in for you pretty easily. It used to look, or it does look, I really don't know why it's not showing this. It used to look something like this. So a long time ago, at one point there was just Bitcoin. And so by default, Bitcoin was 100% of the total market cap. It was 100% dominant because there was nothing else. There's no other cryptocurrency. As new coins were created, like Litecoin, Bitcoin dominance left 100%. Can never return. Can never return to 100. It could get to 99.9 repeating, but it could never get to 100 as long as there's any other cryptocurrency in the world worth anything at all. And anything meaning 1 penny. If it was 1 penny, Bitcoin still could never have 100% market cap dominance. So I'm going to go ahead and even say 100 is impossible now. But at one point, it was at 100%. And for a long time, it remained very close to 99. Very close. And then what we saw, I believe it was 2007, is we saw Bitcoin dominance start to slip down and then drop off a cliff. And so, that's good enough. When you guys load it up, hopefully it loads for you. I've never had this problem with this chart. So what this means is that we saw Bitcoin go from almost 100% of that total chart, like the total value of the chart we saw before, total market cap. And I believe it dropped down to 30-ish at its lowest. Something like that in the ICO craze in like 2017. And so what this means is that Bitcoin represented less and less and less of that total value of the total crypto market cap. And so how is this useful to you? Well, to put it simply, when Bitcoin dominance goes down, that means that alts are gaining. They're gaining percent of the total market cap, which means typically that alts are raising in Bitcoin pair. They're being valued higher and higher and higher against Bitcoin. We can see September 5th, 2019, we reached a local high here at about 75%, 75%-ish. And right then, if you look back at alt pairs, you're very likely, in alt BTC pairs, you're very likely to see all-time lows in alt BTC for almost any coin. And there are exceptions, which is majority. More often than not, you're going to see very, very low points of alt BTC pairs on September 6, 2019. Since then, we've seen it actually trend down. We moved back. I had this resistance marked a long time ago. Support 59.24%. We've just reached it. We're seeing potential signs here of reversal, which means that Bitcoin dominance may rise again. And so it's important to at least understand what this chart is and what it represents. A surge or a rally, especially the more volatile this is when it moves up or down, typically the more impact it does have on alts. But if we see this reversal play out, we may look to see alts bleeding value out. Now there is a little complexity here that I'm definitely not going to get into right now because you guys have heard me ramble about this for like ever. But there are scenarios where Bitcoin dominance dropping doesn't, or let's use the rallying one, example. There is a situation where Bitcoin dominance can rally, but alts also not sell off. And so if you think about this relationship of these charts we're talking about between Bitcoin dominance, total market cap, and Bitcoin's market cap, there's a scenario where total market cap grows so much that even though Bitcoin dominance percent goes up, alts may just stay flat because it's a three, it's like a triangle. The triangle of information, where each value is associated with each other. And so if one pulls away kind of unexpectedly or unusually, you can see a strange interaction between them. But for people just seeing this for the first time, the easiest way and the best way to understand this at first is essentially if Bitcoin dominance goes up, alts tend to go down. And if Bitcoin dominance goes down, alts tend to go up. So that's all we're going to say about the Bitcoin market cap Bitcoin total dominance. These tickers are really weird to say. They're tongue twisters. So to reiterate, crypto cap semicolon BTCD. This is a chart worth checking out. It's really a holistic looking back. And this looks nothing like Bitcoin. Unlike total market cap, which looked a lot like Bitcoin, this looks totally different. But in the same sense of what we talked about in total, this can be charted too. You can chart this. It in the same way that Bitcoin or stocks or whatever respect technical analysis. I would say more often than not, but absolutely not 100%, maybe like 55% of the time. So will this. This absolutely can be charted. You absolutely can see bullish divergence. You can see bearish divergence. You can see candlestick patterns. You can see, you can use your indicators the same way you can use it on Bitcoin or on total crypto market cap. I think that's fascinating. That's totally fascinating. That's something that isn't traded, because total market cap is a little more arguable of like, well, it is traded because all those pairs are traded and you're just adding it all together. Okay, fine. But this literally isn't traded. This is a percent. There's nothing, unless you were, I don't know, like a billionaire and you were trading every single coin and every market all at once. This isn't a physical pair, which is a funny thing to say in a digital asset. This isn't a literal pair. This is just Bitcoin and what percent of the total market cap it represents at any given time. And you can absolutely chart it. So number 2, check that one out when you guys have a minute. And we're going to get to the last one here. And this last one, a lot of you, almost, I'd say most of you guys have seen total market cap. You've seen Bitcoin dominance. I'm not sure everyone has seen the next one. And the next one is another really cool chart that is important to Bitcoin that can be charted. So, yeah, you know what? Can anyone take a guess? Anybody out there? Read the chat for the first time in this 30-minute rant. I'm going to give you guys like 30 seconds. No, I'll give you 60 seconds. Anybody have a guess at what's next? I will be thoroughly impressed. Thoroughly impressed if anyone can guess. Altcoin market cap? That's a good guess. Video updates and stats. No. That is a good one though, actually. Dixie to Bitcoin. That's a good one too, Tom G. Our side chart. Okay, well, I didn't think anyone was going to get this, because this is like, even people who have been in Bitcoin a long time may not be aware that this is available. So I'm just going to ruin the surprise. But you guys had good guesses. I like those. Those are good guesses. Nope, not Dixie. Rico. See, even Rico, man. Rico's been here forever. Smart guy, knows TA. This is one that not everyone has heard of, even the people who've been here a long time. I'm gonna guess a few of you are gonna like have one of those duh moments, but the next one, this chart's so old I didn't even have it set up right. I'm gonna set this up real quick. So this one is even the most removed, in my opinion, from direct trading. Does this look familiar to anybody? Probably won't. So what this is, I'm going to show you the ticker. The ticker for this is BVOL2. 0.24H on TradingView. Unfortunately, it's only available through BitMEX in their charting. But what this is a Bitcoin historical volatility index. And so for those of you who trade stocks, this is like the VIX in a way. It is the VIX, but this is just for Bitcoin. As far as I know, there's no crypto volatility index, no crypto VIX, just Bitcoin VIX. I would reckon they look very, very similar. I would like to see it, but this exists right here. There's only data from December 31st, 2016 up until today. But this is another very interesting chart. You'll notice on the scale here that this is also not, this isn't a dollar value assignment. This is similar to dominance in the sense of this cannot, there we go, no, that this cannot go below zero. Zero is this chart has a bottom, a defined bottom. Cannot be below zero. Volatility cannot be less than zero. So volatility, what this is for, lots of people who have never seen this probably don't even really know what a volatility index is. So what this is instead of graphing the price change as in, price going up and price going down and showing that, what any VIX or specifically this Bitcoin VIX is it's actually showing you how volatile, and these are daily candles, how volatile Bitcoin price is at that time. So we see an all-time high of 37.6. That number is pretty irrelevant. The only reason it's relevant is to date, since this has been tracked, that is the most volatile day that Bitcoin has experienced. And so that day is April 15th, 2017. And then we can look at the bottom here. On the 27th of October, 2018, Bitcoin volatility reached 0.35. And again, these numbers are only important simply because they're the highest and lowest that we've seen to date. I'm not sure exactly how you would directly translate them into anything. It's kind of just like RSI in the sense of you can't go below zero, but it's really kind of, you're using it to judge other movements. So we've seen other lows in volatility. 26th of January 2017, 17th of July 2020, that one makes sense, that one's in recent memory. So really what you infer from this is July 17th, 2020, very low volatility in that day. It's really just in that whole time period. But we can infer is that it wasn't quite as low volatility as the 27th of October 2018. So this is a chart really that you use to compare volatility. The numbers aren't really meaningful in any way other than measuring them against previous time periods. Actually, something I want to do really quick I didn't have planned either is let's go back to the 26th of October 2018 on Bitcoin. Let's just go back there really quick. Not going to do much with it. $2,018. Time has been gone. Going fast. Over. Here we go. And this makes sense. So we saw the lowest point in Bitcoin in this record of Bitcoin's volatility on the 27th. And look at price. Geez, that is low volatility. I'm going to zoom in and kind of smush this chart so we have a little bit of something to look at. 27th. So really right here. Now if we zoom out, even if we let this auto scale, you're gonna see it. Look at how flat, look at how little was going on there. That's what we would expect to see, because in that same time period, 27th, say 18, let's highlight just that. Okay, I was darn close by eyeing it. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days, price stayed how close? Within 1.8%. That is a really tight range. Really tight range. And so volatility, and this is the example here, is we had 8 days or whatever of a very tight range. Volatility doesn't mean it's going up or going down. What it means is that it's going up or down. It doesn't mean one or the other, it means either. When volatility is low, that means it's not moving up or down significantly. When volatility is low, when volatility is high, real quick, we're just going to look when was the highest volatility. April 16, 2017. Real quick, because I don't want this to be too boring. But I think this is really good information that, I don't know, where have you ever heard anyone talk about this? I've never heard anyone like go in depth on this, so bam. April 16. Bam, April 16th. So here, it's going to be a little weirder to see because we're looking back on the daily here, and this was a crazy candle. But you can see, so you see this wick, and this wick doesn't look that cool because we're zoomed out, we're on the daily, we're not really seeing that price action. But we can see from just this, that white's not helping. Okay, we can see just by looking at this daily candle right here, price in a 24-hour period. 24-hour period. Opened, made a low, and came back up 32.29%. So that means it didn't just go up 32%, because we've seen that. We've seen that like in October of last year. Didn't just go down 32%. We've seen that before. But this started the day, went down almost 30%, then went back up a little bit more than 30%. And then likely came down, so it has a little top wick too. So in one day, if you add all those percents from like the top to the bottom, it swung like 60-70%. This was an insanely volatile day. So it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to look, eyeing it up, this probably looks more volatile. Like, but Tom, look at this. Like, it was up, it wicked down, it went up, wicked down, bounced. Like, that's more volatile. But it actually isn't, because in one day, this moved percentage-wise with no bias towards up or down. But the percentages that it moved in one day added together was the highest of any in the recorded history here. And again, it was only 2017. There was likely more volatile days in the past, but that was the most volatile day. Bam. The volatility is just changing in price. And so, to kind of wrap this lesson up here, this can also be charted, which is very counterintuitive. I can't say, I'll be honest, it's not something I spend a lot of time charting, but it is something that everyone who is serious about being a trader should be looking at from time to time. It's a real quick kind of go at it here. I didn't do too much looking into this before. Didn't do too much homework. Like even on MACD here, we see basically a double top on the daily on our indicator, and we saw lower highs on our price, even though this isn't price, it's volatility index. We saw a lower number on our index. We had some bearish divergence, and look, we rejected, came down, and saw a period of lower volatility. This can be charted too. It's crazy the way the universe works, man. Like, the fact that you can chart pretty much anything, and in some, you know, and not exactly, because TA doesn't work 100% of the time. It's not always respected, as Mitch Ray would say. The rules still apply. You know, if you see bearish divergence here, even though this isn't traded at all, this isn't in any way an asset. This is just, I guess, a visualization of an asset. This still can be charted. We can still gather information from this, and I think that's freaking dope. So that's me nerding out about everything. The absolute last thing. So those were the charts I wanted you guys to see. Those were the charts that maybe a lot of you have never seen, especially if you're newer. But they're very important. They're very important to crypto, to Bitcoin. So there's one more, and this one is a little different. And this one I think is going to be a lot more intuitive for everyone, so I'm going to wrap it up with this one. So this is, I don't know if you want to call this actually a chart, but it's a little trick. And a lot of people don't know this trick. This is a secret. No, this is an episode of Bitcoin Secret. So there's something interesting we can do here, and this is a valuable exercise, especially for new traders who find themselves kind of being influenced by their bias. And this is a trick that every OG trader uses from time to time. So what you do, go into TradingView, go up to your ticker, and so delete whatever's there. And so instead of looking for a ticker, here's what you're going to do. You're going to put, I'm blanking on what these are called, not a bracket, you know, these things. Anyway, you're going to do that. Then you're going to put the number 1. Then you're going to put a minus. Then you're going to type BTC USD, and then you're going to close your bracket. Hit enter. This is the fourth and final secret chart. So this probably, if you've never seen it, looks a little weird, but it probably looks a little familiar. So what this is little did you guys probably know, you can use formulas in TradingView for their ticker. And so what this is just the price, or is just 1, the number 1, and then subtracting the price of Bitcoin from it. So what we get from this is we get an upside down chart. And that might sound silly, that might sound dumb, but it's actually a really great tool. Can't say that I use this in my everyday trading, but I absolutely use this from time to time when I'm feeling a little overcome by my bias, or, you know, like I can only see one direction or something. When I'm having trouble seeing, I use this because all it does is flip the chart upside down. And it looks familiar, but you'll see, I swear, if you do this on your own and you mess around with this, you'll see the chart a little differently. This definitely isn't the same chart you're used to looking at with Bitcoin, right? Yeah, this crazy low, and then a higher low, and higher low. So bracket 1, you have to do the bracket, I'm pretty sure, even though it doesn't show it here now. I don't think it works if you don't. Bracket 1 minus, and then just BTC USD, close the bracket, hit enter. This is great, and you know what's cool about this, going along with the theme? you can chart this. You can use indicators on this. This is just like everything else we've looked at. The only difference is when it goes up, price is actually going down, because you see over here on the scale the price is negative. And when it goes down, price is actually going up. And this is really great for removing bias, because your brain is now used to seeing green candles and thinking good, you're a bull, and seeing red candles and thinking bad, scary. And what this does is this is just a little exercise. It's going to flip that switch in your brain a little bit. It's going to make you, or force you to rewire a little bit and see it in a different way. And this is really valuable. I don't think that this is definitely not something to use every day, as I said, but this is something that I absolutely find myself going back to from time to time when I'm like, dude, it's just too bullish. Like, it's never going to stop being bullish. Like, you know, when I, just like everyone, become a victim of my own bias or what I want to see, or really whatever fits my trades, that I want to see it because it fits my trades. And your brain, way more than powerful enough to make you see whatever you want to see. That I promise you.
Let go love you all 444.
Yo, Rubing you. I rube you, Rubing you. Thank you for the 5. Very appreciated. Very, very appreciated. Awesome. So that's really it, guys. That was the lesson for today. I have a feeling, but I hope that a lot of you found it useful. I know a lot of you, this is probably boring review, but you know what? I wish somebody would do some live boring review for me sometimes. I think that everyone benefits from it. Like, I just love the way the upside down chart looks. It looks so strange. Last thing I'll say, it's a little, I guess this is a caveat. This is actually my own personal opinion too. So people will tell you, oh, we'll just flip the chart upside down. It's the exact same thing. Not actually true. It is the exact same thing as in the candles are upside down. And the values are, I mean, they're off by $1, but they're, because we took 1 and subtracted, so they're off by $1. But it isn't exactly the same, and you can tell that by looking here. Price action looks very different upside down. And it's, you know, like not even in the obvious sense of like, duh, because it's upside down. Like, you just don't see these kind of moves in crypto at all. Like, let's delete all of that behind us, because that's just all up. So let's say we looked at this in crypto. Man, when have you ever seen something like this in crypto when it wasn't upside down? And I can tell you honestly, I have never seen anything. I've never seen any crypto chart do like this movement. This is very odd. Like, this is not a typical crypto. I would not expect to see that on a crypto chart. Like that pattern. That's very weird. So, kind of my point, and this is my own opinion and people can argue it. It's not the exact same thing. Like, you can't just flip a chart and then expect it to kind of like act the same. There is a bias to up and down, and I think that when you flip it, you can see, I think that becomes more visual, that there is a bias in markets, and that they don't act the exact same going up and down. There's a difference, and we can see that here in the upside down chart. So, cool beans, guys. That was our lesson for today. Hope a lot of you guys found it useful. Had a pretty good time explaining it. Did better than I thought I would. But I think anyone who's new here, I know there's a lot of people who are new to trading or new to crypto. Even if you're not new to trading, you probably didn't know about these things. Or even if you've been trading but just started crypto, probably there's a chance you didn't know about these. These are valuable charts. These are things you should look at. You don't need to look at them every day, but there's a time and a place, and I think you'll over time figure out when they're useful. So there you go.